got to a regional final, in dressage, because you've got to say dressage like that. It's dressage, not dressage, dressage.
Clear, like sometimes I wake up like everybody else and you think, oh, it's just not my day, and it broke my heart. It's a privilege. I mean, I always said to everybody, and you don't give up, you keep going, and so my dream came true, actually.
Who do you love more? Do you love me or the horses more? Welcome to episode 10 of the Just Horse Riders podcast. Now, because we're in double digits of the podcast, I thought I'd do something a bit different and bring someone on to have a chat with about all things horsey. And that person is none other than my wife, Chantal. It is my first time interviewing anybody, especially about horsey things. So I hope you enjoy the episode. And without further ado, here it is. Enjoy. So hi there. Welcome to the Just Horse Riders podcast. And today I've got on Shan, who is my lovely wife, and she's the inspiration to most of the stories that I tell you guys on here. So I thought it'd be a good idea to get her on, so she could share some of her stories and insights into the equestrian world, and also possibly what it's like to live with me. So she's so welcome. Hello. Yeah. She's very nervous. It's my first time as well. My first time interviewing as well. I don't know what I'm doing, but we'll give it a go. But I just thought it'd be a good idea because a lot of people have obviously heard me talk about you and the kids, and I'm sure they're probably just getting bored listening to me speak most of the time. So I want to start off with how you got into horses.
How?
Yeah, how did you get into horses? How have you had such a love of horses develop within you over the years? How has it happened? Where did it start?
Well, it started off when I was really young, but why, I don't know, because I don't really come from a horsey family at all. I mean, when I was young, I obviously went to riding school just to have lessons, learning how to ride. And my auntie had a horse that I looked after for her, and we used to go hacking all the time. She had stables near the beach, so we would go on a hack onto the beach and just have a really, really nice time. And I've always loved horses because of that. I don't know, it's like one of those things, girls mainly grow up and have this love for horses. So that's what I did when I lived in Holland. And yeah, always really, really enjoyed it. However, when I got older, life sort of takes over, study, college, university, all these things. And I had a bit of a break of riding. And when I got back into it was really when I met you.
She's very lucky, all the ladies out there, but she's very, very, I'd say I reignited her horsey life, essentially. So basically, by the sounds of it, I mean, again, I know all these stories, but the people on the other side of this camera don't. So, but what it sounds to me like is that horse riding, essentially for you, was a very positive experience from when you were a kid, and because of that, it's then carried on into adulthood.
And to be honest, I've always really loved being around horses, riding, and even when I had my break, I remember telling my friend saying, my best life would be if I could combine yoga, because I'm obviously teaching yoga as well, with horse riding. And this was even before we met. Mm-hmm. And so my dream came true, actually. But yeah, it's never stopped, and I always loved it. The difference was more that when I was riding in Holland, we used to just hack out and have fun, like doing that way. And when I came to England, I got introduced to the whole competing side of horse riding.
The bitchiness, basically, everybody, the bitchiness about the competing.
I remember people saying to me when I came here, they said, "Oh, we're gonna go to a competition," and when I saw what they were winning, which was just a rosette, really. I thought, well, what's the point of this? I never really understood, and until I started to get into that myself, and then the addiction came, and it only got worse over the years.
Now, you said about like the whole yoga side of it. So when I first met you, you were more into your yoga than into your horses. And how do you find that yoga, that exercise helps with riding, or does it help at all, or not at all?
Yeah, I think it's really, really important, and it helps me a lot. Not only because you get stronger, because a lot of people think, when they think about yoga, oh, it's all this, how do you say?
Well, I'll tell you what I thought of yoga the first time I thought, Shan goes to me, I'm going to teach you yoga. Not that I took it very seriously, because I can't really take anything seriously, but I thought yoga was just lying down on the floor and just like relaxing, falling asleep, but it clearly wasn't. Within minutes, my arms were shaking, my legs were shaking, and I thought I was a lot stronger than I actually am. So you reckon it builds strength? And
yeah, definitely. So yoga builds a lot of strength, a lot, even though people think it's not. It does. It builds a lot of strength. You get long and strong muscles instead of short and bulky muscles. And then obviously flexibility as well. But not only that, I think besides all that, which is very important, I think that just the mindfulness that comes with yoga, the breathing, is very important, and it helps me a lot. And I feel the difference, as in when I ride and I haven't done yoga for a while, or instead of from when I would do ride and do it on a regular basis. It's yoga. It's all about the breath initially, so that's one thing that helps a lot, because when you are riding and say you come in a situation where you feel, I don't know, nervous, uncomfortable. It can be anything. It can be in a competition, can be when you're out hacking, or when you're having a young horse, or whatever it is. Like, I do really think that horses feed off how you feel and how you are as a person. And with the whole breathing exercises with yoga, when you practice to, relax in your mind, the breathing helps to calm you down, your deep breathing, that sends off to your horse, and it helps a lot. Like when I'm nervous and I'm competing, because I do get very nervous, a lot.
Yes, she does. She does.
But I might not show to other people. People might think I don't, but I do, and I can feel it in my body. But the first thing that I do is, like, I think about my breathing. That will help to calm me down. And so that side of yoga is like really, really important. And I think like all horse riders should really do something like that to not only help themselves, but
like complement it.
Yeah, complement it. And children as well. It's good for children to do the same thing. And on the other side, obviously, it builds your strength, flexibility in your muscles as well, because again, you're sitting in a certain position constantly, same as runners do, where you shorten certain muscles because the position you're sitting in, and with yoga you lengthen those muscles, and because of that you can open more in your hips, but be like more strong at the same time as well, your core muscles, your back muscles, your posture. So I think it's like, I personally think it's the perfect combination.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. So, like with yoga and all that sort of so again, I know your routine because I get woken up by it very early most mornings. But what is your daily routine like? What is your how do you make sure that you fit horse riding into your life? We've got 2 kids. We're extremely busy most of the time, and weekends are just packed. So how do you find time in order to make sure that you fit mucking out in, riding in, and your yoga practice as well? Like, what's your daily routine?
So overall, I'll try to wake up at 6. It might be quarter past 6, but wake up at 6, and then I get out I'll muck out the horses. So at the moment, as you know, we've got 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I muck them out. I'll turn them out. Well, they've obviously been fed as well. And then once that's done, the kids most time wake up. And then I will obviously have breakfast with them, sort them out. Then they go to school. And when I then come back, it's either if I've not finished with my jobs, I will do them. I'll finish off then. Then I will, most days when I try to fit in my own yoga practice in the morning, other days I teach in the morning a yoga class.
Yeah, village yoga lady here, thank you.
And then after that, I'll have lunch. I will go and ride the ones that need riding. By that time, after that, I'll have to bring them back in. This is winter, a sort of winter routine. I'll bring them back in, make sure that everything is ready. So when I pick the kids up from school, they come back home, then they can ride with my help because they're only young. They're 6 and nearly 8, as you know.
Yeah, 6 yesterday.
Nearly 8, yeah. So they will then ride. And after that, it literally is dinner. I'll make dinner. We'll have dinner. Then they go to bed. And then at certain days, I will teach my evening yoga class. And by the time I finish, I'll have a sit down with you. And then we'll go to bed. And that's it. Yeah. Day is done.
And then start again.
Yes, that's it.
So is there a reason why you find mucking out in the morning better, or is it just because it fits in with you, or do you like it because you get up and you're out? And why do you do it in the morning and not in 8 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night?
I fit it in the morning because having horses and a family is very hard work. Like without a family, it's hard work. Never mind with a family. And I try to fit it in all together. They have to be mocked out. It has to happen at some point. I mean, the kids do help in the weekend.
And me. Just so we've got that on camera. I also get dirty.
Yeah. So in the weekend, the whole family is involved in the mocking out. But during the week, there is just not enough time. And I think the kids are a little bit too young to say that is your responsibility. So I've said to them, if you guys want ponies, that's good, and I will obviously do the work for that. But in the weekend, you need to come and help mock out. And I think that's a really good practice for them, having responsibility and learning that, having a horse is a privilege and for us is obviously very expensive to have so many horses. So I think that they could help even when they're young, and they are very, very good at that. I have to say, they are really, really, really good.
And
they do an amazing job. No, they do really.
Because when they do a bad job, they're told.
Yeah, I'd have to do it again. So basically, I muck out in the morning because it's a lot of work, and I can just crack on with it. Everybody's still asleep, so I just
not me.
Yes, sometimes.
Never.
But I will just get it done and over with, and then everything else can happen. At the end of the day, it's like one job done, ticked. Yeah, that's why. And I don't always get it done this in the morning, and I'll have to do it in the day or in the evening. But if I can, then that works for me.
Okay. So you mentioned about the kids. I mean, I made a video about how I think it helps the kids. Like, what differences do you see in our kids compared to other children who aren't into the horse riding, as in physically, mentally, morally?
Yeah, I personally think it's such a lovely thing for children to grow up with horses. Like I said, like when I was young, I did go to riding school, but we didn't have any horses because it is just too expensive. It was too expensive for me to have my own horse, never mind to loan a horse. So I was lucky that I could look after my auntie's horse because I wanted to. But one of the things that from my childhood that is always stayed with me is the fact that, the horse riding always had such a love for it. And I wanted to give that to my children, to our children.
There are children when I need to get involved, and they're my children when they do something bad. No. That's usually what happens.
But yeah, it's just I think it's really nice for them to grow up with horses, and obviously if they didn't like it, I wouldn't push them to it, but they've really taken to it, and the whole responsibility part that comes with it, that that's their pony. It needs riding, it needs mucking out, it needs brushing. We've sort of together, we have slowly from when they were young to obviously now and hopefully in the future, have taught them that is also their responsibility. It's not just ours. And I think that's really good for children, because even though they are very lucky to have a pony at home, it's a privilege. And I think for children, it's good to realize that, and that it's not just taking it for granted in a way. And some people say, they really have to muck their stable out all by themselves. And no, we are still there to help them wherever they need. But we guide them to say, well, no, come and, let's do a good job. And I show them how to do it, and if they need help, I'll be right there, because I'm doing the other one. So we're always there around them.
And I'm filling hay nets as well.
Exactly.
I'm very good at filling hay nets. I can do 4 in an hour. I'm very good at it. Very good.
But and it's not only that; it's a physical thing as well. They're very strong, and one of the things I always stayed with me, and it makes me laugh, and it was also so proud. There's many things they have done with the whole mucking out situation, but one of the things was that Lincoln, when he's now just turned 6, but when he was 5, he'd done his stable, filled his wheelbarrow, which is an adult wheelbarrow, and he went, well, I'm going to go to the muck heap with it. And I went, okay. And it was quite full, but I thought, what, I'm just going to leave him to it and see. And he went to the muck heap and he stayed away for a long time. And I thought, I'm not going to see what he's doing. I'm just going to leave it. Anyway, he came back a while later with an empty wheelbarrow, and he went, Mummy, I just have to tell you this. Like, I went with the wheelbarrow, it's very heavy, and I got stuck in a muddy puddle with my wheelbarrow. And I thought, oh no, here we go. He's obviously tipped it and left it there, and he's coming to tell me that I have to pick it up. And he went, I got stuck and I couldn't get it out because it was too heavy. And I was actually really getting frustrated that I couldn't get the wheelbarrow out, but I didn't want to give up. He said, so I calmed myself down and I used all my strength to push it out. And I said, yes, and he says, and I emptied it on the muck heap. And I thought, you know what, that is just such a good, I was so proud of him for it, because it is so easy to give up, and it's so heavy for them to do this, to push this wheelbarrow. It is for most people, never mind for a 5-year-old. But the fact that he persisted and he did that by himself, and then actually come to tell me, I had a moment, and I really wanted to give up, but I thought, no, I am going to do this. That is just, I was just really proud of him for doing that.
So I know what my opinion on that. Now, where do you think that he's learned that sort of grit from? It's that sort of persistence not to give up. Where do you think he's learned that from? Because again, that's a taught behaviour. A lot of people may be born with it, or I don't know, but certainly.
Well, I think he, I hope that he's learned that of us, because we've always said, and there has been a lot of moments, with the horse riding as well, not just me myself, but them as well. When it's hard, or when they get a little bit, when they're riding a pony's being naughty and they're going, no, I don't want to do it anymore, I want to get off, and whatever it is that, how they feel, we always encourage them to not give up, and no, let's try again, we can do this together, let's give it another try. And I think the whole having horses all together will teach them that, and us as parents, we are very much as no, don't give up, let's try again. And one of the things we always say is don't stop on a bad note. We'll finish the riding lesson on a good note. We'll keep going until this is good, and then we say, okay, this is where you've done really good. And I think that's what I hope that he's learned that behavior of, being with us, being with the horses, obviously. But you might feel different about that.
No, I totally agree. What I said was, and I don't think there's very many places, especially with kids, where you can learn how to be like that and actually, push through those sort of hardships. Yeah. So I totally agree with you. I think it is down to the being in the horsey world, sort of thing with it.
Yeah, and there is, as everybody who has horses or works with horses, it all looks a lot of fun all the time for somebody but most of the day being around horses, it is very hard work. The winters are just horrible. It's cold, it's raining, and these horses still need to be looked after. You can't just go and wake up and think, oh, it's raining, it's cold, not today for me. No, it is. We still need to do everything. And I keep saying that to Aya and Lincoln as well, and so do you, that like in the winter with children and ponies, it's even harder because they definitely don't want to go outside to do it. But you go, no, let's wrap up warm, get our waterproofs on, and off we go. Because there is no option to say, oh, you know what, it'll be all right, I'll just leave. No, he still needs feeding, he needs mucking out, and riding. So it's a lifestyle. This is how we live, and for some people it's very different.
Not for them, a lot of people.
No, for a lot of people. And I completely understand. But I really love it, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
So we talked about your beginnings of it, and obviously our life now. With training, for example, when you've had your competitions, throughout the years, is there any, you said about don't leave it on a bad note. So do you always end your lessons, or if you're doing any training by yourself, do you always make sure that you finish your training on a good note? Is there any other sort of tips and tricks that you do with that? Because if you're a horse, sometimes I assume I've seen, being naughty, but you'll keep going until it's right. Is there any other sort of anything else that you sort of make sure happens when you're riding?
Well, it's difficult to say because, it's difficult to say, like, I'd always do it this way. Yes, I do always try to finish on a good note. This is, again, it's very hard because for what you want and what your horse is giving at that day I think are two different things. I mean, I can go and start my day riding thinking I'm going to do this today, I'm going to work on that. But unfortunately, it don't always work out like that. And my horse might have a very different idea of what we're going to work on that day. Could be anything. I mean, so yes, I do start off with an idea, but what I'm actually doing might be completely different depending on how the horse feels and what's needed that day. And sometimes, when I go into my own session of riding and I work for, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes. It has happened, and it goes exceptional well for what I was asking from him or her that day. I will call it a day because I think, no, actually, that was really good. You have remembered from what we've been practicing, and you're just giving it to me now. Absolutely perfect, And I will finish at that moment because I think it's always a reward for the horse to finish riding or give a loose rein to say that was good. Yeah. They learn of the reward and not of the punishment in that way. So yeah, and the same is with the training session. I mean, I never ever had a lesson of somebody that you just that I go, oh, I've paid you for 45 minutes or an hour, and we finish after 30 minutes, or where's my other 15 minutes? And no, because you're going I go into a training session with a trainer thinking, we're working on this together, and once it's good, it's good. And then that you have to bear in mind the horse, not what you want. And sometimes this is also very difficult, because I am also a person that likes to work with like a structure and a routine, and we're going to work on this, and then we're going to do it. Like, I've always got a bit of a plan in my head, and sometimes you just have to say to yourself, well, no, we can't do it this way, because it has to be different today, or it has to be longer, or it has to be shorter.
So basically you need to like adjust according to how like the horse is feeling, how the horse is acting.
Yes, I think that's very, very important, and us people can be sometimes very stubborn with it as well, and myself too. But
no, you're not stubborn.
But yes, you just you do need to really think about what the horse is feeling, and reward just comes from get like, if you are, I don't know, working onto like certain exercises, like, and they're doing it right, give them a walk, give them a long way.
Make it easier for them, basically.
Yeah, or just stop riding, basically, and say, okay, you're done well, that's enough.
When it's going good, you'll do that. But like if it's going bad, if like you've been in there for, I've seen you in there for a couple of hours sometimes, and your horse isn't getting it, and you don't get angry with it or anything. You just keep moving. You just keep moving forward with it. From what I've seen, what about if your horse doesn't get to the point where you want it to on that particular day? Do you then lower the aim?
Yes, yeah. So it depends on what's happening, why we're not getting it. Sometimes if there is too much of an ask, it can be just for that day, or it could be because it's too complicated, too difficult for the horse, or whatever. I don't keep pushing for that specific thing. Sometimes I try to change what I'm doing, and I'm just waiting for a good moment, because again, you can't just personally, you can't just keep going and going and going, because they get tired like we do as well. And sometimes when they're young, you just blowing their brain by asking too much of them. But for example, I remember when I was and I know where you aim for, when I was having City, when they're a young horse, and I was doing like in-hand work with him to desensitize him in a way. And he could be really, really sharp and things like that. And sometimes with that, I was taking a long time, because I was waiting for a moment for him to relax in his whole body, in his posture. And as soon as he would give me that, I would then say, okay, that was good. But sometimes that just
it didn't happen. Did it? No. With City, like obviously he was a particular type of horse, but we've also had many horses over the years who have been like I say many. Many horses over the years that have had completely different personalities, and obviously have you had to adjust the way you work with the horses compared to, depending on what horse you were working with, if that makes sense? Like with City, he was quite sensitive, where Bambi, who was like a bomb could go off next to her and she wouldn't care,
Yeah, you do. Every horse is different, so you have to adjust to the horse and the way how you work with them and what you can do with them. Not only their personalities, but also their age. Yes, you have to. You have to definitely adjust, I think.
So if you've got a competition coming up, as you try and get to as many as possible with, in dressage, because you've got to say dressage like that, it's dressage, not dressage. Do you have a particular training regime that you do to make sure that you have your test ridden as well as possible? Or do you just keep practicing the same test over and over and over again?
No, it's a bit both. I would say it depends a lot on the horse as well, because I do tend to practice my test. Like, as I said to you, I do get quite nervous before competitions, and one of the things that really helps me as well is that obviously when I know the test by heart, that is one thing then ticked off, and I don't have to worry about that. So I make sure that I practice it in my head. I practice it with the horse as well, but not too much, because some of them anticipate the test and they will remember, and then they will, like one horse in particular will start her figures and stuff like that.
Kelly.
Like before we get to that. So I'm trying not to do it too much, but I do run through it to make sure that we get it as good as it gets. I have regular training sessions with my trainers. Obviously before that.
So you have lots of training, and you put quite a lot of work into it, and obviously time. How do you deal with, like, for example, with Kelly, you got to a regional final, and literally a minute before you were about to enter, Kelly goes lame, and she has been for a few months. Now, how do you deal with that? Like, how do you find the determination, I suppose the want to still carry on? Because I suppose a lot of people would give up, in those sort of situations. Yeah. Like, how do you carry on?
Well, it was at that specific moment. It was really hard because we've been working so hard on it, and we've not had Kelly for that long, and we were probably at the best point that we could have ever been in such a short amount of time. And I was very, very proud to actually enter that competition. And then, like you said, she went lame right into the warm-up, and with no reason. And she has been lame for a longer time. It was really hard. I was devastated at the moment. I had tears in my eyes because it's and it comes down to, people say, oh, you ride horses. Oh, yeah, you just sit on a horse. It's not that. It's there's so much dedication that goes into it, time, training, and like we said, with the kids. Like, it is my hobby, the horses, but I still have to do so many things to make it happen for me to actually be able to go to a competition, because the kids go to school. You work really, really hard, so that I have to try to fit it in the busy life already. And so it's devastating, and also the time after. And then there is that time you're thinking, what's wrong? What can we do to make it better for her? And there is, especially if you don't know what is wrong, it's really, really hard. And yeah, of course, at that right moment, there is a second that goes into my head that goes, right, that's it. I'm not doing it anymore. I had enough. But the moment you walk away, you think, no, we're going to keep going. Yeah. And you do, because if you have so much love, not only for the horses, but just for that lifestyle, it's like you always say to me, I'm addicted, and I am addicted because I can't do without. And the first moment to come back, it's like, right, okay, what we're going to do with Kelly, like, she needs to be seen by a vet, she needs to go, like, recover, and you do. And then, I just wait for that moment, and we'll just ride whoever else we can ride to
get whatever you can get hold of. Hazel, if you're watching this, thank you. You've made sure that her addiction is met. That's a friend of hers who lets her ride her horses.
Yeah. So time flies by, and she is now finally sound, and slowly bringing her back into work. And into fall, well, hopefully, fingers crossed, because that was.
I didn't know this was happening, by the way. This is new.
I thought say it on camera. So
yeah, so it's documented. So I can't get like angry with you now. Yeah, that's it. So I'm probably going to regret saying this actually. But what is the plan for the future? What is what is your aims and what is your your purpose? Why are you doing it? Why are you getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and mucking out, 7 days a week, and going through all the hardships that you're going through with the disappointment and like, why are you doing it? What's the aim?
I'm doing it because I just absolutely love it. I love being around horses. I love riding horses. I love the lifestyle that comes with it. I love that the kids are involved in it. I love the support I get from you.
It's me, by the way.
Yeah,
it's me.
That's another thing, isn't it? Like, you can't, doing this, having this life, you need the support behind you. Otherwise, it's an absolute no. I would never be able to do this without you, because you support me in not only giving me all these horses, but making this happen. Like, I can go to this competition, and you'll be there to watch me and say to me, no, you can do it, and keep going. Don't, like with the whole Kelly situation, and that's not obviously the first time that there is a big disappointment. Like when we lost City, for example, that was absolutely heartbreaking for me.
Obviously I know about City, but tell us about what City meant and what happened.
Yeah, well, so City was the horse that I bought after I got back into horses when Lincoln was born, so our second child, and I started to get back into the whole competing scene. I bought him because he was like my dream horse, not just the way only he looked, but also like what he could be. He was the dream. And as I said, like, I did all the groundwork with him. He was just a stunning horse, and he grew up here with us from when he was only just turned 1, and when he was 3, and we really got to the point of breaking him and starting to ride him, and he went. Obviously, there was some issues along the way, and he wasn't an easy horse, so he really took up all my energy and my thoughts and stuff like that. But I had really big plans for him and hopes for him, and then unfortunately, and this is horses. He broke his foot in the field, and that was the end of that. And it was so sudden. It happened in 20 minutes, and that was it. And that was literally the end. And it broke my heart. But still upset. I think about him still every day. I can still get upset about it, thinking about it. And it was really, really hard. There was nothing that we could do for him. So yeah, that was just, and that is sometimes just horses for you, and not only for us, for everybody around them. They're so fragile in a way. I mean, the big animals, and they can do beautiful things, but then they are really fragile, and
very badly designed.
They are, and it's the same. Like, for example, with Kelly, it's just unlucky. She was so sound the day before and was going the best she's ever been, and then that morning she just walks out lame, and nobody knows really why. And you just have to, your mindset goes from this one moment that you're thinking, if it's talking about Kelly, like, oh goodness, tomorrow is that competition that I've been wanting to go to so badly. You're so high in energy to the moment where you think, and that was it. And it's the same with City, and you have to adjust to that and get over and thinking, well, we'll go again.
Yeah, I mean, you say about the support around you. I mean, with City, you had an enormous amount of your friends and and whatnot, support you and comfort you and me as well. I try my best.
No, but you do.
Yeah. But going on to more like the people in the horse world. Now we've been in it. Well, I've been in it for I don't even know now 14 years now, and you've been in it similar amount of time. Like what what are the people like? Like I personally find that you get a good mixture, but on the whole, a lot of people there's a bit of a community around it, a bit of togetherness. Everyone's always there to lend a hand. If there's any, a lot of people are very happy to give advice as well. A lot of the time, you find I always seem to notice. But how do you find it?
Yeah, the horse world is like a world on its own, if anything. Everybody knows everybody. Like I said, yeah, it's a really, really small world, really. And yeah, of course, you have your whole community around you with people that your friends. You make so many friends when you are in the horse world. Like I said to you, when I come to England and live here 12 years ago with you, I was straight away taken into this community of people that are all having the same interest and that help you in every way. Not only just to be friends, they help you with your horses, you look after each other's horses, you take each other's horses out of the field, you go hacking together, you go to competitions, you train together, you make friends along the way. And I think it's just such a lovely thing to have as well. And not only that, you're always outside. No matter the weather, you are outside, which is just so good to be outside with the fresh air, cracking on with your jobs, riding or doing anything else. It's just really, really nice.
I'm sitting here nodding to you, and I spend most of the time behind the computers like, yeah, fresh air is really good. I like that. But then,
don't get me wrong. Like before we met, I used to work in an office, and all respect to people that can sit behind a computer every day.
Because I'm a professional.
Very good.
Yes, yeah. The world needs people like us.
I used to because, you have to, but being outside is for your health, physical health, your mental health is just so good. Yeah, it does so much good for that. And I think being in the horse world helps with that. Saying that, there is also a very other side of the horse world where there is people that always know better and that, want to tell you what you're doing wrong or...
So what I've sort of seen is that you get a lot of people who are quite happy to give you advice and tell you how to do things, but they've never actually done the thing that you're trying to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But you do have people like that, and a lot, like saying that, like a lot of people mean it in a good way, because I don't think that obviously, and that's just life. Like there is people that like to say not such nice things, but that's not only in the horse world. That's with everything. But people in the horse world, you get a lot of people that will give you free advice without you asking for it. I find, and
there's a reason why it's free.
It is, yes, as well. But over the years, because we've not always been so privileged, obviously, that we had all the horses at home, and I have been at livery yards as well, and mainly on livery yards when there is a lot of people or women together. You get free advice for certain things, and you just learn over the years as well to filter out the good advice and the things that you think, oh, well, that's maybe not for me. And it doesn't mean that people give you advice that it's always wrong, but it might work for their horse, but it doesn't have to mean that it works for you.
They won't necessarily be giving you bad advice out of like not anger or badness or anything. They're just doing it, like you said, that works for them.
And again, it's with a lot of these things, and I think once you found your little community, your little group of people, and then I mean as well...
Very dangerous when these little communities get together, very dangerous.
Not only
and you know who I'm talking about.
But I don't mean not only friends. I mean as well when you found yourself a good trainer, because sometimes with trainers there is, I've had a lot of different people, and all of them have their good and the bad points. And I just think when you find somebody that works for you as a trainer, then stick with that person, because it's different. Everybody has different styles of training, but having a good trainer, somebody on the ground that can not only teach you new things, but also can just see what's happening and then have a good eye, and also somebody that tells you and you can understand as a rider what they mean, because I found that as well a lot of the time, and especially for being Dutch. And I mean, now it's different, but first of all, when I came here and I had people teach me and saying terms to me in English that I had no idea what they were talking about.
Like inside leg outside rain. I still don't know what that means.
Well, let's not get into that, but I mean, it's just... it's just you need to understand what your trainer is trying to tell you to feel or to do, and that is a skill by itself for a trainer to be able to get through to the rider. And if you found that person that works for you, I think you should not only stick to it, because you change over years and you need different people for different times, but that is a... you need to find somebody that
listen to people who listen to the people who sort of have done it, and
but also that mean well with it as well. Not only there to teach you just for the sake of teaching, but the people that teach you that actually do care and want to help you, because that is it. You say about how to have different, so keep with the same instructor, but over the years, obviously, I know that you've had different instructors now. Would you say there's an advantage to having different instructors and taking parts of these different instructors' advice and experience and then combining it into your different sort of ride? Absolutely. I mean, over the years, I had great instructors. And sometimes the reason why I've changed instructor is only as simple as we moved house. So... like I said, with the kids and stuff like that, my time is very limited, and I do need still somebody that can also help me out. So for me, it sometimes works if somebody can come to us instead of me going there. That's a simple thing to change. Instructor, because time, and then sometimes, like I said to you, certain instructors can help with different things. What works for me better than other instructors. So it just, it's different.
But find the one, when you found the one, sort of keep to it.
You can get on with, and I think it's really important for anybody. It doesn't matter how good of a rider you are, I think you should still have that person on the ground that can help you and your horse. I think it's very important.
Because you've always had lessons and training. Do you know of any people who have sort of goes, well, no, I'm not going to get any training because I sort of not know it all, but what I'm more trying to say is that you could quite easily go, okay, well, I don't need an instructor because you got to the regional, you could turn around and say, okay, I don't need any more training and just do your own thing. But then would you find then that each time you have a training session, it's harder and you learn something new, as in you're progressing still and not standing still?
Yes, I think personally, from every lesson that I've ever had, I've learned something. Can be the smallest thing, but there is always, you learn something, and I feel like, I'm hoping that I'm progressing. And obviously, if you're with somebody that's teaching you, you feel like you're not progressing, it might not be the right teacher for you. But I feel like, you do. I always get something out of it that helps me or my horse. And I don't think I'm ever that, I don't know if it's the right word, arrogant to say I don't need any lessons, I'm good enough.
Definitely. I mean, what I'm more trying to say is for people watching is that, if they're at a point in their riding career or development, whatever you want to call it, and they're not getting the results they want in competitions or whatever, then maybe it's because they're not being challenged enough, and they're not progressing. And what more trying to say, every lesson you sort of have, you come off and it's either a really hard one or you've learned something new, and you're progressing each time. So a good way for people to try and become better riders is to get either an instructor that's probably a bit more knowledgeable than them, and that they can learn off.
Yeah, and it also, but also it depends on what you want to do, because sometimes people have lessons not because they want to compete or just because they want a riding lesson to become a better rider or to get better with their horse or anything like that. But it's I think you have to think for yourself, what do I want, and what is my plan, and based on that you will then either find an instructor or not, and sort of work together to get to that goal that you have. And there's lots of people that don't want to compete; they just want to just ride for the pleasure of it and hack out. And I absolutely understand that, because that's how I got into horse. I only just got into the competing side of it because everybody around me was doing it, and then I thought, oh, I actually quite like this, but just having a horse and hacking it out every day is also it's really lovely. Yeah, absolutely. So it all depends on what you as a rider want to achieve.
If so, for anybody sort of out there that isn't in the horse world, what would you say to them to why they should get into the horse world? Why? Why should I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and look at a horse?
Well, it's because it is such a lovely lifestyle. You're outside, you're active, you get fit, healthy. It's so good for your mental health just to be outside. And I really want to make that just very sort of clear. Like, sometimes I wake up like everybody else and you think, oh, it's just not my day. The moment I get out of bed, and it's even if the weather is horrible and I don't want to do this, a moment I get out of bed, I get outside in the freezing cold, rain, whatever it is, and you breathe in the fresh air, that's already like a complete change of how I feel. And then just working with the horses, it's just the calmness you get of it. It's really, really just so good for how you feel that day. Being outside, being active, getting fit, being fit, having that routine in your life, and also there is no doubt about it, you have to do that. You can't just go and think, just leave him today. No, you have to push yourself, and it just I just think I know there's people that just don't like horses. It might not be for them. And it is, again, it's a very privileged thing to have. But even like my friends sometimes when they come over from Holland, and they're not horsey, some of them, and I just drag them into, you need to come and help me mock out stables, because in my life, that it for them, again, they love it. It's
something different for them.
Something different, and it's just such a healthy lifestyle.
No, I definitely agree with you on that. I think for us as a family, the horse is such a massive role socially, and
it does. It's hard work, and it takes over your life in a way, but.
Well, it combines us as a family, I think.
Yeah, 100%. We do, and also like for you, you've been so much more involved into. Obviously, we got the business, and
this is the business, by the way, just in case anybody doesn't know. So, she comes into the warehouse. It's like a shopping spree. It's great.
I've got my own trolley, but. It is true. It's not a lie. But you've been very much involved into this whole life, obviously, because of your mom and dad, and obviously having the business, and then I come into it. I also like horses. Unlucky for you, when we met.
It was always going to happen.
And then now the kids are into it as well, so you don't really have a chance.
I'm outnumbered massively.
You're outnumbered, absolutely. But again, also as a family, like now the kids are a little bit older and in Pony Club, and
Shout out Pony Club.
oh yes, hoo-hoo. But the lessons, and you had to be involved because at one point both of the kids were on the lead, so it was.
So I had to jiggle and run next to them.
Yeah, absolutely. But you did.
But I jiggled away.
Yes.
Jiggled all the way.
But it's slowly getting less jiggle because of all the.
Yeah. There you go. If anybody wants to lose a bit of weight, then go and buy a horse, put your kid on it, and run next to it for hours on end on the weekend.
Yeah. Definitely. But we got together so much as a family because you had to be involved in it for a bit. And now, even though you maybe don't have to be involved in it as much, you still are because you really enjoy it.
I do.
We go out together in the morning, getting the horses ready, getting the kids ready. Either we're going for a lesson or we're going to a competition, and we're all together having fun, encourage them, and then go home together. And it's just really nice. And I have to say this, I am really proud of you because not a lot of dads are involved in Pony Club. There are some, but there are not a lot of dads. And I think you are always there. Regardless how busy you are, you make time and you make sure that you're there and
to jiggle away.
No, but you're doing it, and we are. It's so lovely to see, and the kids absolutely love it, and especially when we're doing the mountain games and we're having a bit of a competition here, the boys against the girls.
Obviously, we always lose because Jiggle a lot can't run very quick.
A lot faster. That's just what it is. But yeah.
Well, thank you for the kind words, and I just want to say, obviously, I know this is only a small snippet into your daily routine and your passion for it, but I see it, and as much as sometimes I think, oh, I don't want to do this today with the horses or anything, but seriously, your passion is so amazing, and your dedication is second to none. I don't see anybody else who is dedicated to the horses as much as you are, and I think that's passed on to the kids, which, again, as a human being, I think it's a very incredible skill and to have. But so there is one more question I have to ask you that I know a lot of people are dying to hear. Who do you love more? Do you love me or the horses more?
Well, that's just I obviously love you the most of the world, but
the horses a little bit more.
No, but I love you all very much.
Yeah, so the horses come first. Basically, what she's trying to say, the horses come first. But that's okay. That's okay. I've come to terms with it.
Definitely not. You know this. But no.
Maybe it's just my insecurity.
No, but when you no.
I'm joking.
Well, I think when you love something that much, like as a hobby, and our whole family's involved, I always said to everybody, and you don't give up. You keep going. Do what you love, and you give it your all, and that's, I think, what I've always done. And when I go for it 200%. And I say this to the children: do your best, do the very best you can. The outcome doesn't matter, but we're just, and that's what I do with the horses. I give it my absolutely everything, and I drag you all into it.
Oh, you can see it. It's amazing. But I know you're extremely busy. So I'm going to let you go. But thank you so much for taking the time to come on my little podcast here.
I'm very, very honoured that I'm the first one.
First of many, hopefully, and hopefully my skills will improve as well. But yeah, thank you so much, and I'll see you at dinner.